Hey y'all, it is April the 17th, 2019. I'd like to thank you for joining me. We have a few minutes to share with each other before I had to get off to work. And there's a few things that I wanted to share with y'all, and just check in with y'all. First couple things be on a personal level. Me personally, I have a bad habit of losing things and being all over the place. My lifestyle tends to spill out all over, right? And this creates challenges for me because I don't know where none of my stuff is typically, right? But I've been working on that. Especially in the recent past, I've been working on that. And as of the past couple of days, I've actually been making strides in that whole deal. One thing that I gotta stress, something that I've gathered, especially in the past couple of days, is to live in the moment, to live in the present. Now I know I had an interview where Charles Manson was saying the same thing, but I had to reiterate, all right? Live in the present, and it's hard to do for those of us who very creative or very imaginative. We tend to get lost in our imagination, right? You might catch yourself thinking about the future. You might catch yourself thinking about the past in great length. Getting caught up in your head is what they call it. I've been conscientiously not doing that for the past couple of days and getting my stuff together, getting my stuff all organized, getting it streamlined. All right. I've been living in the present. What's in front of me, I've been handling. I think of other different things to do. I can think of a million things to do every single day. But I haven't been thinking about those things. All right. For example, you could think about all the different carnage that's coming our way. And I don't care what country you're in. You can think about that to a great extent. That I might suggest is going to hinder you. It's going to hinder me as well. All right. The best possible thing to do, in fact, the only thing to do, is to concentrate on what's happening right now. All right, in this very moment. And if you're like me, I think you'll find that once you start concentrating conscientiously on right now, you'll no longer have a need to rush. You won't be rushing things. Of course, you got to show up to work on time, or if you have a job like me and stuff, but still, you can make time. You could operate, or at least I've been finding, you can operate on a calculated level. You can stop rushing. Rushing is only going to lead to problems, right? It's not sinful, but what it is it's an effect of sin, right? Sin is when you play God. It's when you're angry at God. It's when you're angry at people in general. All right? You might start to think, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can turn this around and that and around. No, don't even worry about it. Be a part of the world. Be a human being. Do the best that you can. Do it right now. Don't even worry about it later. That's all a suggestion, but it's what I've been living like for the past couple of days. And I got to tell you, it's been working out. Speaking of working out, I've also made it, and I haven't been able to document it on video, and I plan to do it so as to maybe be helpful for some people. But I've been working out, as you know. I've really started getting back into it. In fact, now what I'm doing is 2-a-days. All right, not very long sessions, maybe 20, 30 minutes probably, about 30 minutes, 2-a-days. One in the morning, all right, before I eat. I typically don't eat till 3 or 4, 5 hours into waking up. So what this does is it gets your metabolism going, right? Puts you on that right rhythm. All right. So if you work out before eating, I know a lot of people, that's 10 steps down the road, but it'll get your metabolism going up. I'm getting all jacked up. I don't want to show y'all right now, but I am, right? And like I said, 2-a-days, one in the beginning and one at the end. I have a kind of a habit, me myself personally, of eating food towards the end of the day, which also isn't very, very good, right? You want to give yourself time to digest before you go to sleep. And so instead of eating food, I've just been working out. right? And like I said, 20, 30 minutes, we're going to go into detail about it as far as isolating, but also not isolating muscles and stuff like that. That's a little bit further on down the line. We'll get to that, all right? But in the meantime, I did want to go over the news because I know it's, one of our favorite things to do. So with that being said, let's just dive right in. All right, y'all. We're gonna have a quick rundown stuff. So what's ever popping over in Parkland or Broward or Florida in general? This one right here, the headline reads from Miami Herald, which is not a bad publication. You know what I'm saying? In regards to all the other publications, Florida returns to its Second Amendment roots after launching a gun control movement. I mentioned this, but I didn't mention it too much. Back when they were passing these bills or whatever, as far as I don't even remember, as far as the AR-15 or bump stocks, or I can't even remember what they were passing it on. I remember thinking that this was just kind of saving face. It's kind of a political thing to do, like, oh yeah, we're going to pass this bill, blah, 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 and then we're going to just reverse it later. And as it turns out, I'm not a political expert, but I was actually right. Yeah, they're turning it around because here's the thing. Florida, if you didn't know, it's kind of pro-Second Amendment, just kind of like Texas is as well. It's just we're not very politically savvy. It is our problem. All right, so now what they're doing is they're reversing all that. In fact, if we go to the part of the article, I want to read this. This is a quote. Parkland happened while we were in session. Okay, and I think there were a lot of members who felt like we had to do something from a political perspective, right? Just like I said, based on the emotion of the time. See, we're doing political things based on emotion, all right? So isn't that retarded? Said Greg Staub, a Sarasota lawmaker who spent years in the legislature before his November election to Congress. He said, quote, if that shooting would have occurred when we were not in session, I don't think we would have seen that type of bill passed. It was kind of shoved through in order to save face, and that's what it did. It was a rope-a-dope, and it worked to perfection. Anyways, 20 years on, Columbine survivors allegedly tell Parkland students we're sorry we couldn't stop it, as though they have capes on and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell they mean. I don't know that they said this, but if they did say this, they're all completely retarded, and this is not news. All right. Ron DeSantis tells Supreme Court suspended Broward Sheriff Scott Israel is grasping at straws. Let me tell you, that's the best way to describe what Israel's doing, as he looks like a demented elf right there. Can a Parkland grad and a rape survivor bring bipartisanship to gun laws? They are trying. All right, that's Carmen Shentrup's brother. I think his name is Robert or something. And then they have, it's not, I don't know how to say this, a rape victim, I guess, a rape survivor. And believe it or not, they're trying to take away your guns. Anyway, Sun Sentinel awarded Pulitzer Prize for Parkland shooting coverage. Look at them grasping each other and crying. It's so emotional and stuff. Meanwhile, they're all hacks, all right? It's all, if they knew shame, they would be filled with it, all right? Pulitzer Prize, obviously, is a fake award. Basically, what it means is money changing hands and people virtue signaling all over the place. That's what it means, to win a Pulitzer Prize. And to cry all over yourselves and pat yourself on the back for such a good job that y'all did. Hey, speaking of which, the Pulitzer Prize and all y'all's hard-hitting questions and investigations and analysis. Speaking of which, I want to give y'all one thing that, in case the Pulitzer people are listening. All right, I want to ask y'all one question. It's very hard-hitting. How and why do you know that there wasn't two shooters at Parkland? Now, here's the thing. I'm not denying anything. Let's just say everybody died. Let's just say I'm dead, all right? Let's say everybody died, and I'm not denying that at all. How and why? I mean, considering that there were witnesses who attested to it, how and why do you know that there was not more than one shooter in the situation? Hey, I'll give you the answer to the answer that you're going to give me, by the way, is Scotty Ferengi, Israel of Broward. He's the one that told y'all. That is the only reason that you know that there wasn't two shooters. Meanwhile, everybody's grab-assing and just wondering whether or not how fast we should kill Nicholas Cruz, all right? Ain't no trial being done or anything. Nobody's trying to get to the bottom of nothing. Speaking of that, Parkland student newspaper honored during Pulitzer Prize. I forget where something like, oh, here it goes. Parkland students bask in Pulitzer mentioned they took us serious. They took us so serious. No, they didn't. They're virtue signaling, and money is changing hands. It's a fake award. All right. Who cares? And then we got the letters, and we've covered that before. The letters going from Nicholas Cruz to some lady. I got some insider information on that, but I'll share that with y'all later. As far as what's going down over there, it's not extremely important, but it's kind of a retarded. All right, we got death notifications. That's kind of real interesting, huh? Death notifications after Parkland shooting were slow and insensitive, families say. Well, color me shocked, all right? It's almost as though they're trying to cover up something nefarious. Anyways, what we're going to end up on right now, because I got to get ready to do some other stuff, is this video right here, and it's coming from our man, all right? Our man with the plan, Bob Norman. The video is called Suspicious Resigning of BSO Employee. So I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. We're going to finish it up with our man, Bob Norman, to take us home.
Israel's inner circle. And now to an ongoing Bob Norman investigation. Bob has learned that one of the most controversial and politically tied employees in Broward Sheriff Scott Israel's inner circle has resigned while he was asking tough questions about her qualifications for the job. Here's Bob's report on the one and only.
They're not political folks. They're people I've met through politics.
When Broward Sheriff Scott Israel was asked last year about his hiring of this woman, Diane Thorne, as his personal scheduler, it raised some eyebrows. While Israel is a converted Democrat, Thorne is a controversial Republican with Tea Party ties.
We hire the best of the best.
The hire appeared to be political payback to Thorne's previous longtime boss, this man. Self-proclaimed GOP dirty trickster Roger Stone, who played a key role in Israel's election. Israel denied Thorne's hire was payback. Now we've learned that the $68,000 a year Thorne, who'd been promoted to become assistant to Israel's chief of staff, has abruptly resigned, citing a new opportunity in the private sector. But there's a whole lot more to this story. Coinciding with Thorne's resignation is an investigation I've been doing into her BSO application. Thorne claimed to have a bachelor's degree, which is required under the job description from a school in Australia, but couldn't prove it, claiming in this email that the school had shut down. BSO hired her without verifying the degree.
And it was quite evident that it was not investigated.
Former BSO commander and frequent Israel critic Sam Frasterio says more investigation should have been done.
Even if the college did not exist anymore, they still have a history of the college.
Sure enough, I learned Panola Catholic College has retained some of those records, but privacy laws prevented that school from providing any records to me. Bob Norman, Local 10 News.
And Bob tells us that BSO has indicated that it still has not verified whether Thorne, whose official last day is July 11th, earned that college degree. Bob is, of course, staying on the case.